Today, we're going to talk about how to set up training for a lower league side. Specifically, though, a semi-professional lower league side. And the biggest difference between a semi-professional and a professional side, as far as training schedules are concerned, is that with semi-professional sides, you have these unavailable days where you can't train. So you're only training half as much as professional sides, which can be an issue if you're like me, where every other side in your league is a professional team, and you might be the only or one of a few semi-professional teams in your league. So the question is, as a semi-professional side, how do you get the most bang for your buck on your training days so that you can catch up to or even surpass those professional teams? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So right now, we are looking at the middle of the season, but we're actually going to jump back to preseason, and we're going to talk about how to make the most of your preseason before we move into the season. So let's head back to the beginning of this save so that I can show you what I did during my preseason, which helped us out quite a bit. So very quickly, I want to talk about why I chose this specific schedule and how I made it work in the context of a semi-professional preseason. So of course, it's preseason. One big thing that we want to make sure of is we're building up our physical prowess to be able to go through a full season. So of course, on 2 training days, we have scheduled endurance training, and this is purely for that physical aspect. However, unlike what I would do in a professional save, rather than including another physical training session, I've gone with outfield training. And this is the thinking behind that. When you're starting a save, your team cohesion is going to be really poor. Your club atmosphere is going to be okay. Since you're a semi-professional side, you aren't going to be able to train as much as the professional sides that you may be up against. And because you're a semi-professional side, honestly, your team probably isn't as good as those other professional sides. So it's going to be really important to get a head start on improving that team cohesion and club atmosphere going into the season. So this preseason schedule is built to begin the process of improving that team cohesion and improving that club atmosphere so that your team has that advantage going into the season. So we're starting off with outfield training for a number of reasons, but the most important ones are it improves tactical familiarity, it improves happiness, and it improves team cohesion. So we're doing that on both days to get that boost in tactical familiarity, to get that boost in team cohesion, and to get that slight boost in happiness. And the good thing about choosing something like outfield is we still have pretty high intensity here. So as we can see here, we're at 65% of match intensity. This is well above, 50% of match intensity that you might have more towards in the season. So we are doing, especially for a semi-professional side, very physically demanding training here. We've got physical training, we've got general outfield training, so we should be able to build match sharpness, and as long as we're scheduling our friendlies properly, we should be match fit going into the season. And that brings me to Saturday. And if you're looking at the schedule and you're looking at the other days, you're probably thinking, why aren't we doing another endurance and outfield day? And there is a very important reason for that I'm going to talk about in a second. But let me talk about the thought process for Saturday. So we have match tactics and team bonding. And this is purely a let's improve that tactical familiarity, team cohesion, and happiness day. So we're really working hard on that tactical familiarity and team cohesion with match tactics, team bonding, greatly increasing happiness, greatly increasing team cohesion. So we, throughout this weekly schedule, we have really worked hard on team cohesion, really worked hard on tactical familiarity, and we're building that physical base that I think makes this preseason schedule good. However, the reason this preseason schedule works is one big reason. And that is when you are scheduling your friendlies, schedule them on a day that you are not able to train. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you schedule that friendly on the Saturday when you could be training, you are missing out on a whole day of building up team cohesion or building up physical or outfield training. You're missing out on a whole day of training. You can't do that because you're going up against professional sides that are training every day. So choose your friendlies to be on Sunday, on the day that is unavailable to train in so that you can go in, pick the team that you're playing against, and now you have friendlies scheduled, which is another opportunity for you to build tactical familiarity, for you to build up your fitness, and for you to get ready for the season. So if you're implementing this preseason schedule, this is what it will look like. You'll have your training days on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. With that Saturday, since we're going in before friendly, we're taking down the intensity. We're just doing match practice and team bonding. So we're working on happiness, team cohesion, and tactical familiarity. Then we go into the game. You have a day of rest and you're back into training. Now for this was a friendly scheduled by the club, so I just left it in there. You can include 2 friendlies a week if you want that extra day. I do think it suffices just to have that Sunday friendly, but you could also schedule one on Wednesday if you wanted even another day to be able to work as a team and build up that match sharpness. And that is the most crucial aspect. That scheduling of friendlies is the most crucial aspect, in my opinion, for making this preseason schedule work for a semi-professional side. Now, if you had the friendly scheduled on Saturday and your club automatically did that, I would, if you can, go into your staff responsibilities, take control of scheduling friendlies, maybe even cancel those friendlies and try to schedule new ones. I think as a semi-professional team, it is really important to schedule your friendly match days on days where training is unavailable. That way you can make the most of your training sessions and you're still able to play games on days when you wouldn't otherwise be doing anything. So that is the preseason schedule. Now let's move to the in-season schedule. And the big difference for in-season schedule is that you can't schedule your match days. So you likely at this point probably have match days on Saturday, which is one of those days that you could be training, or maybe you even have multiple match days per week. But this is my in-season schedule. So we have lost out on that Saturday training day. So on the other 2 days, we're pretty much just getting in the most general training that we can. So we hit the overall training so that we're hitting everything. But the important thing with the overall training is that we're improving tactical familiarity again, we're improving happiness, and we're improving team cohesion. And we're doing the same thing with the outfield training, and we're doing the same thing with the outfield training here. We're just trying to hit that tactical familiarity, that happiness, and that team cohesion, because these can all go down when you're not training. So it's important to hit those things. I wouldn't do any super specific training for a semi-professional side. For example, I wouldn't do any technical training. I probably wouldn't do any tactical training just as they don't really hit a broad range of attributes either. I certainly wouldn't do any specific goalkeeping training. The only thing you could maybe add if you really wanted to is some set piece training, maybe instead of match tactics. But for that last spot, I prefer the match tactics just because, again, we're working on tactical familiarity. We're working on tactics prior to going into the match day. And the only other thing then that you might see during a match week is if you have a week off where you don't have a game, I strongly recommend doing a match practice because a match practice is just amazing. You're working on literally everything. So the match practice is fantastic for improving morale, team cohesion, tactical familiarity, and even working on some attributes. And then after that, to keep things from getting too intense, throw in a team bonding. Team bondings are fantastic. You get happiness and team cohesion. So if you don't have a match on that Saturday, this is what I'd recommend throwing in. But this is what that schedule looks like implemented. We have match days on Saturday. We have our overall outfield and outfield training and our match tactics. And overall, this has a good balance of helping to improve the attributes of your players. So you're still able to develop your players even as a semi-professional side. But as we can see here, we're improving team cohesion. We have a pretty good club atmosphere. So we're able to work on all of those things. And sure enough, even at this fairly early stage in the season, with just this training, we are still making some improvements even as a semi-professional side. So as we can see here, we do have a number of players with those upward arrows. We have Dan Albino here, who honestly doesn't even play for that club that much, but he is still improving. Paul Titoy, he's in and out of the side. He's had major improvements over the course of the season. Gwynabong, he's getting a little bit better, but this is someone who doesn't play very often. June Ramos, who's one of our main starters, has improved fantastically well. Stephen Lee's got a little bit of improvements. Dexter Chio has some improvements. So overall, the team is performing well. We are seeing some development in our players who are training well. And for a semi-professional side who doesn't train that often, I think this is probably the most you can ask for. So overall, that is how I set up preseason and in-season training for a semi-professional side that is going up against other professional sides. And so far, it seems to be working as far as developing the players, and most importantly, improving tactical familiarity, improving team cohesion, and improving the club atmosphere enough so that you have a chance to beat those professional sides. And with that, that's all I've got for this. I hope that you all have found this helpful. If you're doing a semi-professional save, best of luck. I hope that your save is going well. And of course, I hope this video has helped you in some way. On that note, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you all in the next video.